Welcome everyone to our last point on the official agenda, the Ask UI5 Anything. And please welcome on stage with me, Peter Music and
we are already here.
So, yes. Therefore, but a round of applause is still in.
I take that.
Take it before answering the question. So.
At least now we get applause. Let's see what happens afterwards.
So we got a big stack of questions here from the box outside. So maybe let's start with a few easy ones to get warm with it. First question. When I Google UI5 name of control API, it will initially give me the 1.38.63 API page. Please fix SEO.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah. And we noticed that already. Thank you also for mentioning that. While we changed our hosting infrastructure from the Neo platform to the Cloud Foundry platform, there is a small issue in the resource handler of UI5 which doesn't make which doesn't allow us to have the SEO running right now. But we are on a way to fix that, and this should also be soon getting fixed, yeah. So it's just a matter of time. The next couple of weeks, we should fix that.
Perfect. So
you have asked the question.
No?
I thought you may want to get a bit of fame.
Just support.
Okay, cool. No.
Good. The next one. In V2 Smart Table, it's possible to select all rows using the plugin API. Please also make this available in V4 Table.
Could I try to take it? The experts are in the first row if I need help. So the table,
Joker.
table offers,
Audience Joker.
The V4 MDC table offers the property selection limit. You have to put it higher or to a specific value. You have to find that in documentation, and this can be done via the manifest for the table building block, and this should be the way to achieve the same behavior than in V2. So selection limit property in the manifest for the table building block. Okay? Good.
Perfect.
Next one.
Thank you. Yeah, let's stay with, smart controls. In a V2 filter bar, I can paste multiple Excel rows and they will be converted to filters. In a V4 filter bar, this does not work. When fix?
Good. I would say it's a feature request most likely. Also looking a bit to the colleagues here. So it's a different underlying architecture in V4, and I think it was overlooked so far. So thanks, but please GitHub request, pull request, and then we have a look into it.
Perfect. So one further question from the box. Before we come to questions in the room. Why does SAP not support smart functions for OData V4 controls?
Good. I think I'm not sure how to read the question. I would say why we don't have any longer the smart controls in V4. And this was from the very beginning kind of a fundamental decision to make it different in the V4, to go with the building blocks that behave like the overall templating approach in Fiori element. That means we want to step away from the smart controls, which from the outside are a kind of a black box, and transfer it into the templating mechanism. And also one of the big advantages is that this templating can be cached, executed once, be cached, is in the browser cache. The next time to approach this smart, so to speak, these building block components, they work out of the box and do not have to interpret the metadata anymore. This was one of the samples, and this is why we, for consistency reason, decided for kind of different technology. And there should not be any disadvantage. There might be, as we just learned, feature differences. So if there's something problematic for you, bring it to our attention. But overall, from the concept as such, I think we made really good experience and are still convinced that this was the right and beneficial approach.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
So, I also have a few tough ones on here, but maybe before we start with them,
thank you.
Maybe we have something simple also here in the room. There are some questions over there, just one moment.
Don't be shy. Easy ones, please. Did you see a hand raising? Ah, there.
Yeah.
One row below, sorry.
One beer less.
So until 2 weeks ago, the your UI5 versions up till I think version 1.149.1 had a problem. Okay, with Fiori apps that if you have groupings, you cannot. So after grouping things in the Fiori table, you can't rearrange the columns. So I was in contact with your team, and then they said, I think 2 weeks ago, and then they said it was going to be fixed. It was a platform problem or platform issue, which was going to be fixed with the version 1.150. So I just saw this morning that I didn't get any response after that, so I was checking regularly, and then I saw today that the 1.150 have been released. So I'd like to know if this was included in the fix. Thank you.
Do you know that from your Elements colleagues by heart, whether this was in the fix or that? That's a tough question, by the way, yeah?
But in the release notes, the bug fixes are really listed. So if you go into the SAP UI5 demo kit page and look for the release notes, you could find it. Or should be able to find it.
But I would suppose, so if they write that it's fixed in 150, that it's also in.
Should be.
Yeah, and the version should be out there. Oh yeah, echoing.
Keep a bit distance.
Maybe it's also me with a cube in my hand.
Okay.
So there was a further question. Just one moment.
So we just saw the new and awesome TypedJSON model, and there seem to be some challenges in regards to checking in XML views at design time. But would it be maybe possible to have a check in the linter so that it checks in XML view if there is a JSON model context, and if that JSON model is a TypedJSON model, and if the value that is bound somewhere does match the property? Just an idea, maybe.
Yeah, could be done, but for sure this is a kind of a complicated lookup. Yeah, but technically I would say not impossible. Maybe I ask Claude later on to provide us a solution for that. No, but it would be just meaning work for us at the moment. Yeah, but it's a good idea to do this kind of type checking, because all our binding expressions, which are kind of strings, yeah, they are not having really a context on that, yeah, and having a tool which can check whether this context is correct, and we have a structure for this this model, then this would be okay, yeah. But JSON, yeah, with the TypeJSON model, we have the type definition. That's true, yeah. So there should be some information around, and we should be able to check it. So I think we can take that, right? I hope someone is in the room to note it down. Otherwise, we have to recording. Florian is typing it already, so it goes to backlog for the linter. Thank you.
Already on the agenda. So any further questions in the room right now? Oh, down here. Almost.
I got it.
It's quite hard with full hands, sorry.
Too many questions in your hand.
No, 12 years ago, I filed a feature request.
12 years?
12 years already, yeah. No, I'm really glad that the bound filters has finally solved that issue.
That's
and
from
I
the
have
box
a
stuff.
small token of appreciation.
Oh.
Oh,
Wow. You fixed it. Finally, you have to see that. Yeah, I think this is a good kudo box for the team. Yeah, who fixed that? I think we make sure that the right guys will get it. Yeah. Maybe. No, but thanks so much, Robin. Yeah,
No, thank
really
you.
kind of you.
Really nice surprise.
Let's put it between the Phoenix guys. Yeah. Don't touch that.
So maybe we start also with a question from the online audience. I throw the cube later in the room again if someone wants to. We have one question from the online audience. UI5 on S4 on-premise can run on server side? Or, yeah, can it run? So without having any network log, EA OData service calls?
So UI5 itself is not running on a server side, so it's not a server-side framework. It's a pure client-side framework, and if it needs data, it requests that either via OData calls or not, but we do not do rendering on the server side with UI5.
Yes, answered.
Okay.
So let's come to a tougher one, right?
Okay, you will take one of these.
We have a few questions regarding a topic. When is UI5 2.0 coming? And
Shit,
what
made it.
And what is the future of SAP UI5?
Okay, let me start. So version 2 is, let's say, from a shipment perspective, currently on hold. You have seen it in the keynote that we finalize the internal stuff. So with your Elements colleagues, we will bring everything on the stage, and we have done a lot of achievements and cleaned up our framework, follow internally the rules that we have externally applied. Still, as I tried to explain, you can now say either we have been a bit too slow or AI was a bit too fast. It leading we are now in a situation that we could release version 2. You also saw the migration tools, 95% and higher conversion, automatic conversion. Everybody would dream from that capabilities in the beginning, but now we face the AI challenge, and many more things are questioned. How does the future programming model look like? What is the future design? How do we address all these challenges? And this is basically why we have currently decided now to put the delivery on hold, bring it in a stable phase, and now we also experiment, see how we can evolve, and also potentially do then a bigger step forward than we anticipated with V2, because V2, as we said, is legacy free. It has advantages, but it's not fundamentally different. So from an AI perspective, it would not solve additional problems compared to the V1 stack. And therefore, if we now really want to bring something new, addressing different problems to solve, we have to not only potentially, I would say likely, do a bit more. And this is what we currently try to figure out, and also had a lot of questions during the day. And this is the way that we now pursue. And then stay tuned what we will tell you then next year here. That could be then something bigger. But maybe, Peter, you also add your sentence, because a lot of this foundational work is now really important and also pays out for what we want to do and have to do here.
So following the steps with the legacy free, that you are taking these actions, that you know the best practices, that you are using the linter and the UI5 modernization skills or the coding agent capabilities, this is definitely making sense for you to clean up really your applications and make them ready for future things. Yeah, so you benefit anyhow from that, having a cleaned up code base, also from the things what we do in the modernization inside the framework anyhow, because our investment definitely goes in the legacy free pieces, even though if we do not split up, let's say, these non-deprecated pieces from our delivery at the moment. Yeah, for us also, you have to imagine this would mean if we roll out the 2.0, then this becomes another thing we need to maintain, and also how it evolves in the future. I would say it will also evolve in a different direction if we start off with that. And then we have two code bases to maintain, and as there is also maybe something around that we do even more investment or want to do more investment in the framework, as Stefan intended or mentioned already. This means also that we may go even beyond that what we have in mind in the past with a legacy free or UI5 2.0 story. And we could now use this opportunity to monitor also what's happening now around the AI topic, to see how we in future should position ourselves, position the UI5 framework to play best class role in this AI environment. And I think this is really essential for us. So we want to really play a key role there. And as I said also in the keynote, UI5 is really a very good framework for building applications on top of that, even with the AI foundation, because it provides so many capabilities for that. And this is, I would say, something where we should have a little bit the liberty at the end to decide what will be the right thing to go forward with.
So, yeah.
Another tough one?
Maybe a little bit, but you partially already answered it. But maybe let's go a bit more in detail also. There were questions around, will UI5 survive the AI boom? And I guess it connects directly a bit to this topic.
Who starts? So basically, yes, it will. No, but you have seen it basically in the whole keynote and during the day that we have invested extremely into enabling and improving UI5 for the agentic development. It's nearly, let's say, I would say, as of today, if you want to develop, you hardly have to write one line of code. You can all do with your helpers in agentic development already as of today. So in this kind of space where we talk about applications, about things that have a longer life cycle than just instant, if we look into GenUI, SAP UI5 and also the framework as such has a huge set of capabilities that are still relevant, but also maybe Peter, you just add in your thoughts. But yeah, as said, also this kind of what you see, the maybe last thing as this secure platform. The secure platform thing is still differentiating UI5 and all the other competitors outside in how and what AI has to do and works with the framework. That so many things come out of the box, AI cannot do anything wrong. You know, if you ask AI to build a UI5 applications, it's already internationalized. If you do it with React, you have to really specify it in a prompt. I want this language, that language, that language. And with UI5, just one sample, it comes out of the box. Same for accessibility. You need all the skills. You have to do the specific skills to train it. With UI5, the framework brings it out of the box. And all these capabilities are in the application segment still, I would say, outstanding. And that's what UI5 or the only UI5 can do as of today.
Yeah, when you heard exactly in the details, Stefan said UI5 is a UI platform. Yeah, React is a rendering library. It's a different thing for what, for example, React is made than for what UI5 is made. So UI5 we built for you at the end in the early days to take away the load from your shoulders, to take care about different things. So if you look into UI5, it solves you with an application programmer that comes with a huge set of controls which is available for you. It provides you capabilities, as Stefan said, for internationalization, globalization, formatting aspects.
Data binding models.
Yeah, data binding models, it goes beyond OData connectivity, stuff like that. So it's really a platform. It's not just a thing which does the library, so the rendering piece of that. That's one of the assets for sure, which it solves, but it provides you a real platform.
Understanding of metadata, blah, blah.
Thank you.
I'm stopping.
and now you bring my thinking in a different direction.
Sorry, Peter.
No, and with that UI platform, we also provide a huge set of tooling around, which helps you in doing this development. So it's a full set of things which we take care at the end for you, that you can concentrate on building your applications, and you don't need to worry about things where the platform is taking care about. So for example, we take care for you about updating the third parties we provide to you, about ensuring that everything is secure in the framework. We take care of that, you know what's all built in that. And this is something we give to you, and you can build on top of that. And we also have a capability inside, which is, I said it in the keynote, also quite important. We have this lifecycle decoupling, where there is nothing like this available out of the box from other frameworks, and you can concentrate to build apps, and the apps, they can last for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And we take care to update the framework behind that, and you get a secure foundation of that. There is nothing like that available, yeah? And this is the task what a UI platform is doing, more than what a rendering library is doing or a normal UI framework is doing for you. And these are the things what you get out of the box, and that's also why this is an enterprise framework which takes care about all that. And this kind of quality, this is even necessary if you build things with AI, because in the past it was made for you as developers to simplify your life, that you don't need to worry about all that, but also aiding agents, coding agents benefit for sure from that. If a coding agent builds it, I talk too long?
Yes.
If you now a coding agent is doing the coding and builds a wipe codes an application, then at the end also this app produced by the coding agent is benefiting the same way from that. Yeah. And I think these are things, if you think a little bit longer on that, which is quite an important asset. And also when you think of what a framework provides to you or this platform provides to you, these are a lot of things where, for example, the coding agent doesn't need to spend tokens on. It doesn't need to think of the translation parts. It doesn't need to think of whatever is needed around. You just get that out of the box, and the coding agent knows that this is included and there are no tokens spent. So this is overall then a good investment to be based on a solid enterprise-ready framework or platform behind that. Yeah.
Thank you for the detailed thoughts about this topic. Maybe one question in between from the online audience. Why are request-completed and request-failed events still not available for OData V4 model? It's a big gap compared to V2. It's a heartbreak.
Can someone in the audience help?
Are still the OData V4 colleagues present? Thomas. Where is the... Just take the box. And Thomas is coming down. Do you want to come up on stage?
I'll give you my mic.
No, you can't just come up.
Well, in short, I would claim that whatever you could do with these two events, you can do with promises in
Thomas,
OData V4.
Come over. The camera is coming here. In the middle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So there should be no functionality missing. In general, with V4, you have promises which succeed or fail. You can work on that, and there are rare cases, maybe with patches, which you automatically repeat, and where the promise does not fail, but then there's a separate event for that.
Good. Answers use promises. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
So, have we any further questions here in the room? Don't be shy. There's a hand, sorry, I didn't see it. I don't throw it if it's not necessary.
Hi, yeah. Thank you for answering the questions until now. I have a question. Now we see that AI agents can do so much when you enforce typing, and you want to best practices to enforce that new applications are built in TypeScript, and in the best case, old applications also should be migrated to TypeScript, just that they benefit from the typing. Are you planning to update also the UI5 SDK accordingly? Because I think all the samples are in JavaScript.
So what we did so far is what you have seen this morning in the keynote is that the tutorials had been moved to GitHub. We pulled it out from the demo kit. Also, it has many reasons why we did that. One is, for example, lifecycle, that we can do faster updates on that. But the other thing was also that we were able then with that we could write and provide you the examples in TypeScript and JavaScript. Originally, we only write them now in TypeScript when you look into that in a bit more detail. And then we have a conversion which converts the code back to JavaScript. At the end, it's removing the types, making it a little bit more nicer from that, what comes out of that. But at the end, this is for us also a goal. So TypeScript first in this kind of templates, tutorials, this is also what we at the end are now doing. And I think this is anyhow a good practice. So also we get a lot of feedback from that. So if you build TypeScript-based apps, you have the syntax checks properly, and this helps you overall then to come to a better quality of that. And as an easy side effect, then it's available in TypeScript and JavaScript, and yeah, that's a nice thing overall. So, but check out the tutorials there. It's on UI5 GitHub.io /tutorials. There you can find them, and you can also then toggle the templates or the tutorials then by having the switch on top right.
Yeah, and I think, let me maybe add one thing. It's also a good reminder. You have to rethink daily that paradigms or thinkings that you have in your mind can change on a daily basis. So the first reaction was, hey, changing all the samples might be too much effort. Now, maybe with AI, it's not, and we can automate it and do it in one, or maybe with a few shots, and do it in highly automated. So it's a fair ask also to talk to the colleagues and see what can be done. And
that's
maybe
really
if it's possible, we should do it, right?
Yeah,
so
that's a good point, Stefan, because the first two examples, the walkthrough and the quick start, this took us weeks to months to do it. And we moved now OData V4 and routing in one day. It's a complete different thing, yeah, because we also learned a lot, and we typed also what we did during the conversion of these tutorials from the SDK to the tutorials. And then we had an instruction set, and this went directly into skills.
It gets faster and faster, yeah.
This allowed us to do the migration even faster, and then the next time it would be even one more thing faster.
Yeah, a real benefit.
Good question.
I have just one more question, which is a little bit, I think, I don't know if you can answer that. I'm from the entity data, and we are RISE with SAP partner. And RISE says that we should work with clean core and ensure that we use the best practices. Do you think that the SAP will also add this to their RISE with SAP portfolio, that apps have to be built in TypeScript and that this will be more or less a best practice?
It's a best practice already, so we recommend this also to build it in TypeScript. But for sure, we don't force people doing that, but internally also we notice with the availability and the maturity of the TypeScript solution, more and more apps have changed to go to TypeScript because they benefit of that from refactorings, from a better tooling integration. Now maybe also the rest comes with JSX, TSX support, that you even there get one more level of support on that. And I think that's so I personally appreciate if people are recognizing the benefits of that and not pushing them, because pushing very often causes also a counter push.
Yeah. I think you'd also maybe add to that. I also have to check it now. I think you ask also a bit, can it go really into these high-level guidelines, how to implement this RISE? We have to talk to the colleagues and see whether it fits from the granularity, but it's worth to have a look and double-check whether it fits there or not.
There are just questions about best practices in the project, and I don't know if they get included.
Maybe we can do it, maybe not for TypeScript alone, but maybe we can add a reference to the UI5 best practices for the Fiori application, something like that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. So we have a few minutes left for maybe one or two more questions in the room, if there is any.
Otherwise, the tough ones are coming back.
So, if there's no question in the room.
Online, maybe?
Online, there was also no question incoming anymore. So, are you eager to answer questions?
Do we have one more?
I guess the ones on the cards are almost answered.
Okay.
Not sure if I can give you one more. I thought it's mainly answered, but maybe you have to add something. With web components making React viable and also AI and agent abilities being pushed for UI5, do you think UI5 will have a future beyond being just a mediator structure for AIs to generate? So
UI5, as I said before, is a platform. It's more than just the components and the framework or the rendering. It's providing you a whole set of a platform, and I think this is also where I say this plays also in the future a major role, and I'm quite sure that even if there is AI there, UI5 will still be relevant in the future. More than relevant even because it's a very good foundation, as we said. From the beginning, it's typed, it's declarative, it's also consistent what it does, so we have really all the things at hand where at the end you can build up on top of that real good applications. Maybe things what we also were investigating recently is these agentic protocols, A2UI, JSON render, to also look into them a little bit more, that UI5 also plays a role in that, to be a player for these protocols, so that we at the end can also make sure that even on GenUI scenarios, even on these agentic pieces, we can also provide you a nice framework or a nice solution on top of that, which takes care about these renderings on that level, together with providing you this secure UI platform to be a good foundation where your apps are running on in the future.
Great.
Anything to add, Stefan? No?
Yeah.
I did it.
Thank you. So then, I would say,
Question?
let's close the Q&A round and let's thank Stefan and Peter
Yeah, thank
for
you.
being brave.